In Trump's UN speech, many claims conflict with available evidence. On September 23, 2025, Donald Trump addressed the United Nations General Assembly. Alongside ambitious statements and rhetorical flourishes, his speech included numerous claims that The Guardian later found to be false, misleading, or exaggerated. Here are several of the biggest examples and what the facts show. Underscore. Underscore. 1. Immigrants deported to El Salvador and border security. What Trump claimed. He thanked El Salvador for receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country, asserting that it was under the previous administration that the numbers became record-setting, and that all were being taken out. Fact-check findings. Of the 238 Venezuelans deported in March to El Salvador's so-called terrorism confinement prison Sicote, around 90% had no criminal record in the U.S. Most of the remainder had convictions for non-violent offenses, shoplifting, traffic violations. Although U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) recorded record levels of undocumented immigrant encounters under Joe Biden, the percentage of those with prior criminal records did not reach new highs. It remained relatively low overall. So while Trump's rhetoric paints a picture of a surge of criminals being deported, the data do not support that characterization in most cases. Underscore. Underscore. 2. Ended 7 wars and criticisms of the UN. What Trump claimed. He repeated that he had ended 7 wars and criticized the UN for issuing strong statements, letters, without following up with action. Fact-check findings. Analysts say many of these wars have not been truly ended. Some are unresolved, some agreements are fragile or unratified, others are temporary ceasefires. For example, conflicts like the Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas/Gaza conflict remain active, contrary to the implication that his administration has ended them. While the UN has in fact had successes in brokering resolutions, e.g. ending civil wars in places like Namibia, Cambodia, Mozambique, El Salvador, and has taken part in many peacekeeping or conflict-ending efforts, Trump's framing, 7 wars ended, is seen by experts as highly problematic. Underscore. Underscore. 3. European immigration, open borders, and migration. What Trump claimed, that uncontrolled migration has been shut down in the U.S., implying that once the U.S. started detaining, deporting, removing illegal aliens, they simply stopped coming. He accused European countries of following a globalist migration agenda and warned that open borders lead to ruin. Your countries are going to hell. Fact-check findings. Illegal border crossings have dropped to comparatively low levels during his presidency, but experts warn that uncontrolled migration has not ended. Courts have struck down some of the administration's policies. The open borders label is misleading. Although some European nations allow free movement within the Schengen area, external borders are regulated, and many countries have tightened or varied their policies. Britain, for example, no longer has freedom of movement post-Brexit and has adopted a points-based immigration system. The claim about European countries going to hell is rhetorical, emotional, and not something that can be substantiated in a fact-based Underscore. Underscore. 4. Russia-Ukraine war and Europe's energy dependence. What Trump claimed. Europe is continuing to buy oil and gas from Russia, and if the war continues, Europe must adopt the same tariffs on Russia as the U.S. has. Fact-check findings. It is true that some European countries still import Russian energy, but at significantly reduced levels compared to pre-2022. The European Union has banned most Russian oil imports and is working to phase out energy imports from Russia, with targets set and some implementation underway. Only a subset of countries, e.g. Hungary, Slovakia, continue to receive Russian oil/gas via certain routes. Underscore underscore. 5. Climate change, predictions, and renewables. What Trump claimed. He dismissed predictions made by the UN and others, calling climate change the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world. He said many such predictions were wrong and criticized renewable energy projects. Fact-check findings. There is overwhelming scientific consensus that the Earth is warming, human activity is a major driver, and many predictions about climate change, temperature rise, sea level, extreme events, have been borne out or refined over time. Renewable energy technologies have demonstrated effectiveness, cost improvements, and measurable environmental benefits in replacing or supplementing fossil fuel-based generation. Underscore. Why these distinctions matter. Trump's speech, like many high-profile political speeches, relies heavily on persuasion, framing, and strong rhetoric. But when stated as fact, inaccuracies or exaggerations can influence public perception, policy debate, and international relations in problematic ways. Some key implications. Policy formation and public trust. If policies are designed on the basis of claims that overstate issues, for example, crime or migration, they may lead to misallocated resources or overly harsh or ineffective measures. International credibility. Bold claims about ending wars or about other nations' behavior can affect diplomatic relationships and can also be challenged publicly, reducing trust or introducing friction. Importance of nuance. Many of the fact-check claims are less about whether something is happening at all, but how it is happening, to what degree, and under what constraints, legal, institutional, logistical. The difference between migration has drastically reduced versus uncontrolled migration has ended is large. Science versus political narrative. Particularly around issues like climate change, the contrast between scientific consensus and political rhetoric is stark. Mischaracterizing the science or the predictions undermines both public understanding and policy options. Conclusion. Donald Trump's 2025 UN speech showcased several high-stakes claims about immigration, war, climate, and global affairs. While some claims have kernels of truth, many of them, on closer inspection, are misleading or simply false when judged against available evidence. The Guardian fact-check underscores how rhetoric can diverge from reality and how important fact-checking is in holding public figures accountable.